All right, it's redemption carpentry time. You'd be amazed at what you can build out of old junk, like this workbench my neighbors threw out. One of the things I enjoy most in woodworking is finding new life from materials that seem to have already served their purpose. It makes me feel like there's hope for me. Now, something I've been wanting to build for a while is a trebuchet. Now, a trebuchet is a medieval weapon that's sort of a cross between a catapult and a slingshot. Not like the kind of slingshot Dennis the Menace kept in his back pocket, but more like the kind that David used against Goliath. If you've ever watched Lord of the Rings, you've seen these things in action, and they are awesome. So you'll see that I didn't build this thing completely out of old scrap, but almost all of it is built from lumber left over from either other projects or discounted damaged boards from my local home improvement store and hardware that I found at Amazon reject stores. Point is, this thing only costs about 70 bucks to make, yet it'll hopefully become a helpful addition to my church's youth group entertainment arsenal, for the destruction of pumpkins and the joy of all others. So you'll see here the assembly of the two main sides of the trebuchet. I didn't follow any specific plans, but I did pull a lot of ideas from YouTube tutorials from people who have traveled this path before me. So there's a ton of physics involved in these medieval war engines, more than I care to learn about and apply. I'm just looking to have fun. So I did the best I could without an education in engineering and decided to let the fates of physics determine how well this thing would work. This is the assembly of the throwing arm. It's the most important piece to get right. If it's too light, the whole thing comes apart on you. Too heavy, and you lose a lot of distance on your throws. One of the things I decided to do was to really beef up the pivot point of the arm, both by layering a bunch of boards together to spread the weight over a larger distance, and also installing this PVC pipe sleeve to reduce friction. The next thing to do was to create the piece that would hold the counterweights. It needed to be strong, and I wanted it to pivot independently from the throwing arm. That's a common feature that I saw a lot of other trebuchet builders use, and I think it's valuable because it gives the sling a bit of a snap, which basically translates into extra oomph when releasing your projectile. Or not. What do I know? We'll have to see when we test it out. Now, because I'm doing this on the cheap, I used an old piece of metal conduit pipe to attach the piece to the throwing arm. I then cut a slit on each end and then flared the pieces out to keep the pipe in place. We'll see how it holds up. Next, I cut the cross piece to attach the throwing arm to the frame of the trebuchet, and then I went outside to my driveway to install it. And I used an old chain link fence pole for this, which was not a good idea, because as soon as I attached the weights and gave it a little test swing, the pole began to sag. Fortunately, later on, I was able to shove a solid steel digging bar through the center of the pole to reinforce it. But if I had to do it over again, I'd use a much heavier duty iron pipe for this piece. It would have cost me another 20 or 30 bucks since I didn't have anything like that on hand. Next, I attached the wheels. Now, because the trebuchet probably only weighs about 150 pounds once you remove the weights, installing wheels is not something I would have bothered with had I not been warned by one of the videos I watched. You don't really need them for transport so much as you do for shock absorption as the weights swing back and forth, and you'll see here in a minute how helpful they are. Now finally, I attached the sling. Even the sling assembly was built from old materials, with the help of a friend who donated an old climbing rope and a net that he weaved himself from old ratchet straps. It's so impressive to see what some people can come up with. I'm pretty sure this guy could build a working airplane out of duct tape and barbed wire. Now, you can't really expect to build something like this in your driveway without attracting some attention from the neighbors, and thankfully mine were gracious enough to help me load the thing into my truck so I could get it to the proving grounds. That is my church parking lot. And now it was time to load our first pumpkin, set the firing pin, and test the thing. And I made sure to build some adjustable components to help us control the release point of our projectile, which turned out to be a really good thing as we were very nearly victims of a friendly fire incident. Thankfully, we were able to make a few quick adjustments by simply bending the bracket that the loose end of the sling attaches to, and we got much better results out of this. And while we didn't get the 100-yard range that I'd fantasized about, it was certainly enough to bring whimsy and some fun into our lives. So I hope you found this video both enjoyable and inspiring. Now get out there and make your own.